Dare you see Saw again? Saw 2, also known as Saw Finger Finger, is a film that has grown on me over the years. Of all the movies in the franchise, it is perhaps the best at utilising John Kramer. Now that the filmmakers didn't have to worry about hiding Jigsaw's identity, they fully committed to giving Tobin Bell the spotlight, digging deeper into the character's warped views, tricksy nature, and eating habits. There's quite a few memorable traps and tests in Saw 2, and on the whole, they retain a pretty consistent quality. How about we hunker down, breathe in some tasty nerve gas, and rank those traps, yes? In last place, I'm going with The Magnum Eye Hole, which I'll put in the D category. It's a nice sharp shock to get the group in the right mood for the games to come, but it does err on the simple side. Incidentally, so do the characters. After waking up in this hellhole and hearing the creepy tape, Xavier and victim Gus decide to channel their inner Homer Simpson.
Do not attempt to use this key on the door to this room.
Good advice.
My biggest problem with this trap is that Xavier isn't by the peephole when he unlocks the door. If Gus hadn't rushed over to the hole and just waited 5 seconds for the door to be theoretically opened, nobody would have been harmed. So for me, it feels a tiny bit contrived, like I'm seeing the screenwriter set up a scare instead of a perfectly rigged device. Bye bye Gus, we hardly knew ye. We climb up into the C category with The Electrified Staircase. This is only a very brief moment, one that is relatively irrelevant to the greater plot, but the fact of the matter is, it produces a visceral reaction from me every time I watch. Crunchy! The electric zip-zaps are just icing on the cake. The arrival of Billy gives the sequence a necessary scariness, and I do love how the puppet rolls away after the SWAT team are dealt with.
Well, my work here is done.
The staircase makes sense as a general security measure for Jigsaw's hideout, but on this occasion, the villain specifically needed the cops to get to him. In other words, the old bastard just couldn't help himself, saying a hearty "fuck you" to that one guy's shins in particular. Already graduating up to the B category, I nominate The Razor Box. This trap has the appearance of a classic Saw trap, which, along with its somewhat rushed screen time, means it feels a little generic. Its greatest strength is in showcasing the victim's desperation and unwillingness to heed Jigsaw's lessons. Oh, hold on, I'm not saying she deserved to die, but she certainly didn't do herself any favours. Addison delivers her best Amy Winehouse impression and stumbles into the room. Perhaps due to being late in the game, with time running low and nerve gas running high, she disposes of the trap's tape and jumps right in. As such, she's oblivious to the literal key to solve the puzzle, she spills the antidote, and gets both hands stuck in this haunted version of a Chinese finger trap.
Try it.
You put one finger on each side?
Uh-huh.
The scene receives extra points for the cold callousness of Xavier leaving her to bleed out. Now there's someone who does deserve to die. Twat. In 5th place, we have the nerve gas house itself. I like the general setup of this overarching test. The increased body count feels like an appropriate elevation of stakes after the first film's two-man show. The gas is a significant threat, and of course adds a tense ticking clock to it all. The trick to opening the safe and retrieving the antidotes leads to one of the film's nastiest moments. On the other hand, that moment feels like a lesser imitation of the foot dismemberment, even taking place in the same bloody bathroom. Speaking of which, the house just does not elicit the same response as that bathroom from Saw 1. But on the other hand, this all makes sense. The nerve gas house is revealed to pretty much serve as a pawn in a much bigger game, which we'll get to later. It's getting hard in here, so take off all your skin. That's right, in 4th place, I vote for the furnace. Even before the victim, Obi, offers himself up to become a hog roast, this scene brings the drama. It's revealed that Obi had a hand in kidnapping the other players, so the others believe he's Jigsaw's accomplice, acting as a sneaky hint at the Amanda revelation in the film's finale. And then, yes, the dodgy Dickens gets himself all hot and bothered. The trap speaks for itself. A claustrophobic, horrific nightmare. I would rate this one higher, but the overly melodramatic slow-motion editing towards the end always takes me out of the moment. Oh boy, we're in the top 3 now, and the bronze medal is awarded to The Death Mask. It's a fantastically grisly way to start the movie, allowing you to settle back into this world. The manic editing, the tape, the puppet, the sickly green colouring, it's all there. It also begins a tradition of having an opening trap, the horror equivalent of a Bond movie's pre-title sequences. Victim Michael has been an informant for the police, and Jigsaw doesn't take too kindly to such behaviour. He hid a key behind his eye, which would save the contraption from doing his head a squish. You know what they say? Snitches get stitches. He's gonna need a lot of fucking stitches. I don't blame Michael for failing and essentially giving up. I can barely handle an eyelash in my eye. While the scene absolutely works, I have to ding it slightly, as it feels just a touch too reminiscent of the reverse bear trap from Saw 1. Number 2 goes to The Needle Pit. This is the singular trap that pricks my brain, and just about pricks every other body part, when I think about Saw 2. Suffice to say, I'm not a huge fan of needles, so this scene shakes me to my core. The only thing nastier than this trap is Jigsaw laughing at his own terrible dad jokes.
It will be like finding a needle in a haystack.
Additionally, it was a real shock to see Xavier break the rules and throw Matt Bellamy into the pit. Instead of a nice soft lowering of oneself, the mere notion of being forcefully slammed down onto those needles, Jesus fucking swiggity diglets, no thank you. So, without further ado, this can only mean that my number 1 spot goes to Eric's test. It's this part that makes me appreciate the film as much as I do. Donnie Wahlberg's crooked cop has to endure Jigsaw's easiest test. Simply sit still and listen to the guy for 2 hours.
No.
Yet he still manages to fuck it up. The broadcast is revealed to not be live, and his son is relatively fine inside the nearby safe. What is it with Jigsaw and safes? But nay, Eric fails this test of character and lets his typical bouts of rage spoil the fun. As someone with my own anger management issues, it really pissed me to fuck off! Indeed, the way Eric's story connects to all of the individual victims in the nerve gas house is all very neat. Most importantly, he is the perfect target for Amanda's first proper go under the Jigsaw moniker. Her reveal is a twist that's not as impactful as the originals, but few twists are, and it still took me by surprise way back when. Now then, if the nerve gas hasn't already got you stumbling and mumbling, tell me what your rankings of the traps would be. And how do you feel about the first sequel in general? Let me know in the comments below. I'm off to go finally clean my oven. It's been a while. Scrub, 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 dug, dug, dug. There's some grease stuck at the back there. Hold on, let me just climb in. Oh shit!